Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the video. So, Murovanka today, that's what we're going to be looking at. And what the heck do you do on this map? I'm going to show you. We're going to be in the even 90, so you're kind of going to see some good passive scouting, strategic play, we'll call it that. But this map, it's interesting because there's a couple plays that you can actually make that are fairly safe at the beginning of the game. But as the game progresses, I find it can be tricky to progressively scout on this map compared to maybe something like Westfield, Prokhorovka. But this is a really good map because there's a lot of foliage on the map. So if you know how to make it work, certainly you'll have a good game in a tank such as the even 90. Let's pause here for a moment while I explain these two plays to you. You see where the KPZ went. By the way, when I say Z, some people like to make fun of me because I'm an American and I say Z instead of Z, but for whatever reason I've watched a lot of Canadians, I guess, play this game and they say Z, so I like to say Z when I'm talking about World of Tanks and tanks in particular. I don't know, it just sounds more proper to me. But here we have the enemy even 90, we have the KPZ, and what's happening here is that Bulldog did something like this. He made a really aggressive pass, like to go like that and try and come back, and he got killed. And he was just way too aggressive. If you kind of saw, I would think I was looking this way with my camera, but you could even see him on the map earlier just doing like that. That is not a good play. Don't do that. Way, way too aggressive. What the KPZ did here, KPZ, came up to the ridgeline, and this is a good play. And I see every single light tank player make this play every single game. And it's not a bad play, but I believe this is a better one. So what I do is I come here and I knock this tree down, right? I like to knock this tree, and what that gives you is tons of concealment foliage, right? Even in a bigger tank, you won't be lit here. You just have to make sure that no one sees you knock the tree down. And I have yet to be blind fired here. Like, no one has blind fired me ever from knocking down this tree or knocking down this tree or this tree on the other side, because you can do the same exact thing from the other side, right? So the Bulldog made a really aggressive pass. Yeah, he spotted all these people. There's no way I would spot all these people. I might spot one or two coming to this bush, but it's much more effective because as people come in, you're able to spot them as well, and it's easier to get shots off. Because likely you're unlit here. Over here, you're going to be lit like every single time you poke this ridge. But when you poke from here, you have shots on these guys, and with the even 90 you can even take like 2 shots, and then it's not your fight anymore. So let's advance. We'll see kind of what happens here. And the way this game works, like happens to pan out, I'll say, guys, was very, very strange in my opinion. That's why I really want to show it to you. So we're going to smack a couple shots here towards the Progetto and Defender, and maybe they hit him, maybe they didn't. I'm not sure, but we're going to leave here because obviously the even 90 is not made for any kind of brawling. So I'm going to come back, and what I actually decided to do was knock down this tree and sit here for a moment just to see if I can spot people that are poking up. However, so like where the Centurion is, he's not going to spot these guys, but these guys were able to spot them themselves, or the 704 maybe spotted them. I'm not sure what happened here, but they weren't getting any, I wasn't getting any spotting assist, and they weren't getting the spotting from me. So someone spotted that for them. It was one of these guys in the back corner, and I feel like, all right, I guess I'm not really doing much here anymore, so let me move. But I felt like it was pretty smart play to do. Like, if you don't have anyone back here, you might actually want to try and do this just for, even if your team leaves this side of the map wide open, just for even 30 seconds to get a little more information if these guys are going to push or not. And if you have people back here, they can obviously take the shots. But you guys just have to determine where your teammates are and do what you need to do according to where they are, right? That's just the way the game works. Unfortunately, sometimes people leave one side of the map wide open. If you have to retreat, you have to retreat. No game is the same. You hear me say this all the time. So here we're poking on the ridge line now, and this is the spot I was talking to you about before. There is a little bush you can poke up into, and if you do it properly, sometimes you won't get lit here. And the even 90, it's pretty easy to do. We also have like this tree that got knocked down, so people are looking at it like this, like no one's ever going to see me from these angles. And what you can do from here is usually get a first shot opportunity on tanks that are in this area that poke up on this ridge line, or if they push really far to like where my Emil is, you might have shots as well, right? So just something to note, eventually I think it's like the Centurion that pokes up and we get a shot into him, and then I start running away, and I'm going to show you why. I always say that the east side of this map wins, so we get one shot into the Centurion there. We ricochet the second one, it's all good though. I'm going to go on the reload, and if you're looking at the map, like, what do you guys think is going to happen in the coming moments, right? Everyone is lit on the map, keep that in mind. This is why I love XVM, because it has these big bulbs. I can see that everybody has been spotted on the enemy team, right? So I know where pretty much everybody is. The Leo PTA might be a question mark, but for now it's fine. And I'm going to start retreating, because what I would like to do is, I realize that a lot of their teammates are over here, and there's only a couple guys left over here, and I can see the KPZ right here, the KPZ coming to go after the Type 4, and I said, I'll help you. Like, I hit the, you know, Z or whatever, and I say, I'll help you. See, I do Z and Z. It just depends on if I'm talking about a specific tank or something. You know what I mean, guys? It's just weird. I don't know why I do it. Usually if I'm talking about the WZ, I'll do it. A WZ, it's like a capital W and a capital Z. This is a little different because I think this is an abbreviation for something. But I think it's like K Panzer or whatever. But whatever, guys, okay? I think I've explained this enough to you. But we're going to go after the Type 4 Heavy. And in a situation like this is rare, right? This is rare that the west side of the map is actually going to win us this game, because these guys were held down for so long by only a couple tanks over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's like half of their team is sitting here, and we only have like 2 guys really right here. Progetto is running back, and they all were too passive, right? So in this situation, this is rare. That's why I want to show you guys this replay. West actually won us this game because I pushed through and I never cap. Okay, guys, I'm one of those people, like, no cap, kill all. You know, that's like the saying. That's what I do. Like, I would always rather get more damage and stuff. Most people would, but some people like to cap. In this situation, though, I feel like capping is the right play, because look at the score. It's 8-7. We're only up by 500 HP. This could be anyone's game still. It really depends on how these guys play it, if they're able to stay hold down and all. Likely because we would be able to flank, we would be able to win this game, but you don't want to take that chance. If there's like 3 tanks left over here even, cool, man, I would just push ahead. But in this situation, I would rather just cap out, because see how close it still is? 9-8 now. Now it's just 73 HP, right? That's like a third of a shot for most people. And this is why I'm just emphasizing to you guys, like, sometimes it's better to cap. I know people don't want to hear that, but sometimes that's just the situation that you find yourself in, and that was the situation we found ourselves in. So I decided to cap. You can get on this bush, and Murovanka is great for this too, because on both cap circles there are large bushes that you can sit in, so no one's ever going to spot me until they get to like right here, like literally to the cap circle, because that's where my, you know, proxy bubble is, they call it. We cap out, guys, and that's the game. I don't have end plates for this, but I'd like to show you on the free replay camera, obviously, just a little bit more about this map. As I've been making these videos for you all, kind of doing map awareness and map strategy. So the way that most games work on Murovanka is the forest is key, and I'm going to explain to you guys why. In the forest, you have a couple of, well, you have a main ridgeline, right? But you have another little ridgeline right here. Once you win the forest, the best thing to do is come right through the city towards the west side of the map. On encounter mode, the base is right here, and everyone likes to usually go to the base, and that game mode proves why forest is so important. However, you can't sit 8 tanks right here and have 2 right here and expect to win the game like they did, right? They just had way too many people held down by really not much at all, and they were very scared to push in. And basically that was just a numbers game at that point. We had way more tanks over here, we push around, and it's a GG. But the forest is very, very vital, because once you win this area, you then can come through the forest like this, through the city, and you have the flank on these guys, right? Because you can come to like this bush, these buildings, and you have the advantage at killing everyone in this area, right? And then you can push, if you're in a light tank, you can push like this towards this ridgeline, or you can push like this towards this ridgeline. By the way, I did make my mouse a little bit bigger in Windows, and it doesn't look like it really made it any bigger in World of Tanks, but I hope you guys can see the cursor well, because someone did recommend that I make it slightly larger. But it's very easy to do this in a light tank, guys. You win the forest, and then you push to this ridgeline, or you push to this ridgeline, and then all the TDs that are sitting here, or all the TDs that are sitting up here, depending on what your spawn is, they're SOL, right? And then you win this ridgeline, you poke up, you win this middle area, you poke up here, and then you spot this, or vice versa. You go over here. It's a little more tricky with this side because I think you kind of have to come up like maybe here, but you can spot this as well. And that's kind of why the forest is so vital, because of the way you can then flank into the west. It's not the same as if the west can flank into the east. Should do it like this so it makes sense: north, south, west, east. If you flank going west to east, well, the enemy has this entire, if they've won this, right, the enemy has this entire tree line here and also a ridge line here. So it doesn't work the same, because in a tank destroyer, I told you what you can do in a light tank, but in a tank destroyer, you can then poke up, wait for your light tank to do this or do this, and then you have the shots on people that are like in this area or in this area right from here. You don't have to move. You can just knock a tree down, right? You don't even have to go any further, right? You can also push. This is another thing. You can also push through the forest. It's an option. I always recommend people win the forest and then do this, right? You win the forest, whichever side you spawned on, and you push this way. But you can sort of make it work. And this has been controversial because in one video I did well over a year ago, I said, never push this line, it's suicide. And never push this line, it's suicide. But in a way, you can make it work, right? Because there's bushes here, there's bushes here. You can kind of get a flank here. If you have a really fast tank, you can try and shoot down like this, but a lot of TDs might be sitting in these areas over here, and obviously in this area over here for the other spawn. So you have to be really, really careful in the way you do it. In the even 90, it would work though, and I've made this work even in like the LTTB way back and Russian Lights. You push up like this, and then you get to this ridgeline over here. It's not quite the same on the other side, but there's a way you can kind of come up right here, and you can like knock this tree or sit like in this bush or whatever and just sit in this area, and you'll see you kind of have some cover with the way the ridgeline is, but not all of it. Like if someone's sitting over here, they're gonna have shots on you, but you can kind of make it work if you're not like permalit in this area or whatever. On the enemy side, or the other side, yeah, you can kind of do it, I guess. You can see that they have this, I explained this bush and this bush over here, so you can make it work. However, I would suggest, it's another option, right? Just like we were talking about at the start, you have a couple options here. It's an option depending on the situation. Like if you have a plethora of red tanks right here, then yeah, you might want to try doing this, right? But I would recommend that you try and run through the city once you win the forest and get to this ridgeline or this ridgeline, because from there, 90% of the time, man, I'm telling you that I've made this play. It's been a GG for the enemy team. You light them here, and then your team is able to push in from both sides, basically, and that's it, man. As long as you can spot everybody in the back here, you're good to go, man. And then once you're down to a few tanks left, then you just run over the ridgeline, run through here, you spot everybody that's left, and if the tank destroyers are not very smart, they'll turn themselves to face you, and then everybody has the shots of them. If it's like a Yogg Tiger or something like that that has a lot of frontal armor, I mean, and then your team has shots, and you guys know how that works. So that's how Murovanka works in my eyes. I always say this is my opinion. Some other people might think differently. There's many players that are better than me at this game, especially with light tanks, because I really only play light tanks, so I like to emphasize that that there's many players that are better than me, guys, but this is just how I think of the map, and it's my opinion. With the experience I have, I find that winning the forest and pushing through the city is always the better option. So I hope I didn't repeat myself like 100 times in this video. I hope you kind of get the point. And I hope this helps you out on Murovanka. Again, I have no templates for this game, guys. Really didn't seem necessary to me, but it was a very unique game in that the west side of this map actually won us the game, and that's rare. I don't see that very often. So there you go, guys, Murovanka. If you enjoy these types of videos, please do comment and let me know. Subscribe, it helps me out, but I do always appreciate feedback, guys. Give a thumbs up and comment and say, hey, Whirls, how about this map? How about that map? And I'd love to have a mini conversation. Sometimes people say, yeah, like people will literally type like a paragraph in the comment section and be asking me a question, or they'll say, I try this and I do that. And sure, I'd love to have a conversation, guys. That's what I'm open to, and that's kind of why I started the YouTube channel and also why I got into Twitch as well. So hope you enjoyed. I will catch you for the next one. Take care and bye-bye now.